Let me shift here, and I just want to talk a little bit about silence. Silence, my sisters and brothers, has many dimensions. There is a sacred silence, which is that silence out of which creative contemplation grows. It's a meditation on the word and the will of God. It's the silence out of which we meditate and get closer to God. It's the silence in which fervent prayer is born. There is a sacred silence. But then there's a seething silence that comes when you are quiet externally, but you've got a storm going on the inside. The late Dr. Howard Thurman called that a noisy quietness. But then finally, and here's the silence I want to get to, there is a sinful silence. And Adam's silence falls into this category because a sinful silence is a silence that comes over you when you ought to say something, but you don't say nothing at all. It is that silence that creeps in when you ought to speak up for God, but you sit there acting like you don't know what God said. My sisters and brothers, I fear that Adam was not only silent on that fateful day in the garden when a serpent showed up, but Adam has remained silent through the centuries. When Africans were captured and taken from their homeland, packed in the hulls of ships, sold on auction blocks, beat and killed and misused and kept in shadow slavery, Adam was silent. When Jews were persecuted, deported, and murdered by Nazis, Adam was silent. When Native Americans were slaughtered in the acts of genocide so their land could be taken from them, Adam was silent. When our ancestors were lynched and called boy and girl, even though they were full grown, when they were denied employment and equal access to resources, Adam was silent. And today, far too often, when our boys are shooting and killing each other on the streets, and our girls suffer from low self-esteem and give birth to children whose daddies won't stay around to take care of them, Adam is still silent. Sisters and brothers, there is a sinful silence among us when injustice is raging and we remain quiet. When people are aching, when people are hurting, when babies are crying and dying of hunger and not having enough love from insufficient care, and we remain silent, that is a sinful silence. When the church looks and sees what's going on in its communities, and not just in its communities, but what's going on right there in the household of faith, and we sit there and act like we don't know what's going on, that is a sinful silence. And let me suggest that there's a time when silence is sinful. And here in the text, we see a snake talking to Adam's wife. Adam remains silent. Adam should have said something. My sisters and brothers, the nation is waiting for somebody to say something. Go on, touch your neighbor and tell them you ought to say something. You see them boys on the corner, you ought to say something. You see what's happening with those sisters. I'm not talking about Pookie and Ray Ray and them. I'm talking about the saints' children. Y'all ain't gonna help me in here today. You ought to say something. The classroom is waiting for somebody to say something. Youth violence is waiting for somebody to say something. Every community, every city, every town, every home, every boy, every girl, every family is waiting for the church to break the silence. And if we don't break the silence, let me tell you what's going to happen. If we don't break the silence, we end up embracing the appeals of the serpent. What are the appeals of the serpent? Hey, family. Good morning. I hope everybody's well. Sorry, y'all. I had to turn the music down because you know how they do me. If I got it popping, they'll cut my stream down. But you can go to TuneIn, iHeart, and you can listen in if you want to hear the music. We'll get some on that you can hear that they won't shut me down on. But happy Friday. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Tell a friend, tell somebody Bishop is on the air. Ratch now. Yes, sir. Continuing our conversation from Monday. The price of speaking out when you're black. Yes, there is a price. They threaten they're going to sue you. Al Sharpton got on the other day and said, listen, everybody you got on that list that you're going to sue me first so we can get some discovery. Monday, the price. We get the discovery in there. I see you, Portsmouth, Virginia. Yes, sir. John McKinney, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Whitney, let James stay in there. I want to see what he got to say, whoever he is. You know, the trolls be on here for early, girl. They be on here first thing. It's like they get up, their alarm go off. Ding, ding, ding. Bishop Swan's on the air. Let me get up. Let me run to my computer so I can complain about the black man. We living rent free in their heads. Oh boy, it's comical to me. You know, for people who swear we are so insignificant, they spend a whole lot of their free time worrying about what we doing and saying. It's funny. I don't waste no time worrying about people who I think are insignificant to my life. I don't jump up in the morning running to their page and seeing what they talking about and stressing about them and trying to respond to them and all of that. But these trolls literally be setting alarms. They set their notifications to know when I post, when I go on the air, so they can come running. Y'all need to get a life. Y'all need to get a life. You melanin deficient demons need to get a life. Y'all crack me up. Coltrane in the background. I gotta get Otis Redding on. Otis Redding popping. Got to do this in honor of Uncle Ben. Oh, she may be weary. Them young girls, they do get weary. Shaggy dress. Yeah, good morning. When she gets weary, try a little tenderness. Rep your city. I see you, New Mexico. I see you, Nathaniel Anderson. Yes, they are scared of an intelligent black man. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Try a little tenderness. Rep your city, rep your town, rep your hood. Just sentimental, no. Marietta, Georgia on the gram. Whitney, how you on the gram and on Facebook? Greensboro, North Kakalaki on the gram. Good morning, good morning. Where y'all at on in the Twitter space? Throw it in the comments section. Let me know where you at. YouTube, where y'all at? Good morning. Good morning. Louisville. Yes, sir. Kentucky, Huntsville, Alabama. Good morning. Dayton, Ohio. Yes. Yes, sir. A little tenderness. Squeeze her, don't tease her, never leave her. That's all y'all can get. Yes! Rep your city, rep your town. Good morning. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning. Welcome to the Black Love Experience. I want to thank Elder E.W. for bringing us up until the 9 o'clock hour. Great praise music. Good way to start out your weekend, to roll into the weekend, listening to that good inspirational music. You can hear him every Friday morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And we're rolling into the weekend, TGI and the F. Good morning. Thank God it's Friday. Glad to see all of y'all who are in here. Man, I got California in here. I see you, Emma Williams. I got Atlanta, Georgia in here. What's up, Will Jackson? I got Jersey City, New Jersey up in here. Dayton, Ohio is in the building. Louisville, Kentucky is in the building. Huntsville, Alabama is in the building. Chicago's in the building. Houston is in the building. St. Louis is in the building. Detroit, Portsmouth, Virginia is up in here. Long Island is up in here. Los Angeles is up in here. Quebec, Canada is up in here. Let me go over here. I got Strong Island is in the building. Marietta, Georgia is in the building. Greensboro, North Carolina. Yes, sir. All right. I got South Africa up in the building. Yes, sir. I got the motherland up in here. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Where's the field? I know the field is here. I saw Brother Anderson in here. So I know the field. I know the 413 is representing, but y'all got to put it in the comment section so they know that the 413 got my back. New Orleans, Louisiana is in here. Carson County, California. Florida is in the building. Yes, Bishop be pissing the haters off. Yeah, they be tripping. ATL in the building again. Good morning, good morning. I even have the haters on the line. Okay, James and the Charlie Kirk folk and the KKK folk. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, my cousin, Ivory Edwards Atkins. What's up, cuz? Is in the building. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Texas, Conroe, Texas is in the building. 413. Yes, my boy, Senegal. I got Senegal, more from the motherland. Up in the house. Dakar, Senegal. Up in the building. Yes. Yes. Good morning, everybody from everywhere. I got them coming in from all over the planet. Harlem is in the building. Good morning to you. It's Friday, y'all. Yes, sir. We're back with you on the spoken word. Listen, I'm continuing my conversation from Monday. I told you I was on the list. They made a list of the content creators, activists, preachers, politicians, everybody who's talking about the Nolan Wells case, claiming that they're going to sue us um, for asking questions. Yeah, yeah, they're going to sue us for asking questions. Here's my thing: why you got lawyers if you ain't guilty of nothing? You know, why have the families of the three friends, the three white friends, got lawyers if they ain't guilty of nothing? Nobody has sued them. Nobody has charged them with anything. None of that has happened. So why are they lawyering up? So they created this list. They got me at number 8. I'm offended you got me at number 8. Move me up to the top 3. They got me number 8 on this list of people they plan on suing for talking about the Nolan Wells case. The heck with First Amendment, freedom of speech. You know, they're going to sue us for talking. And that's their thing. They always want to try to silence black voices. They want to silence voices of dissent. They want to punk us into silence. I ain't the one, though. Not me. You're not going to scare me into being quiet. This ain't my first rodeo. I've been down this road before. I see Brooklyn in the house. I see you, Terrell. Um, been down this road before. You know, Jerry Falwell, Brett Favre, even the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, all threatened to sue me if I didn't retract what I said. Yeah, they still waiting on them retractions. So this ain't the first rodeo. Um, so we're going to talk about the price of speaking out, the cost of speaking out. Yeah, they want it to cost you something because they want to make you an example so they can keep other people quiet. hmm I'm sorry, little baby girl, I got Starbucks. Um, they want to keep you quiet. But I'm going to keep on talking. So tell a friend, tell somebody. Bishop is on the air right now. Rep your city, rep your town if you're in the social media space. And of course, you can definitely call in if you want to rep your city, rep your town. 413-736-2781. 413. Let me get that number up there. Monday, yeah, we had a real troll on here, calling me the N word. They are something else. Boy, they be up bright and early. They have their alarm set, their notifications set. Bishop is on the air. Let me get on there and troll. Yeah. Yeah, they be tripping. 413-736-2781 is the number here. If you want to chime in on the conversation, we'll be right back. Don't y'all dare go nowhere. First you learn, then you earn, and then you return. You gotta get back. Rep your city, rep your town.
You say you sold out because black women are loud and crass. What? And your precious white
Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Are you so blind that you cannot see? That pale girl child ain't got nothing on me. For hundreds of
Yes,
years,
sir.
I stood by your
Bad
side.
things happen when
Accepted
good
your
men stay
flaws,
silent.
allowed you your pride, bore your children and cleaned up your mess, satisfied your lust and always settled for less. We have stayed in the background and allowed you to lead, trusting in your strength and ability to succeed, never getting the praise and credit we deserve, for having the courage, the will, and the nerve, for being the backbone that has kept it together, for you and our children in all kinds of weather. And now suddenly you say we're not good enough for you. We forced you to sell out because of the things we did. Well, where was that white woman when that white man you hate was cracking the whip? In the boardroom, the warehouse, and on the slave ship. She stood by his side and didn't say a word, waiting for her own chance to rule.
Yeah, I want to know how they came up with that list too.
You turn to and treat like a
Yes,
queen.
sir.
And me and my sisters you choose to demean? Well, hold up, wait a minute, and stop the damn bus. Because there are a few things I need to remind you about us. Listen up. A more beautiful creature God never made than an African woman, no matter her shade. High, yellow, red bone, or cocoa brown, we are more than worthy of wearing a crown. Ebony, mocha, or black as the night. It is we who have always shared in your plight. We are passionate, spiritual, loving, and kind. A more generous heart you'll never find than the one that beats inside the body of a Nubian queen, the hardest working, loving, giving woman you've ever seen. For we give and forgive until there's little left.
All right.
Forced to put up our guard.
Portugal in the building.
The theft of our hearts and our trust, the very
Yes, sir.
of our soul, by our so-called brothers who are just playing a role. And you wonder why some of us act as we do? Take a look in the mirror, because the answer is you. It's not enough that the white man has always tried to keep us down, but our own men act as though they'd love to see us drown. And white women have never invited us to join their equal rights struggle.
Phoenix, I ain't even see you, Phoenix. What's happening, Phoenix?
Raising the children that black
Yes,
men left
sir.
behind, and dealing with the racism of the daily corporate grind. Damn, it's no wonder some of us are loud. Hell, we're just trying to be heard. In a world where everyone, including our men, ignore our every word. Where are the brothers who understand a black woman's worth? Right here, who will protect and stand by us?
ATL.
The salt of this earth.
I'm going to be in ATL next month.
Raised you and showered you with love. It was we who taught you
12th
to love
and 13th.
We gave you all we had and taught you to be men. Open your eyes, it is us. Your
Australia, how did I miss you?
Derek's kind who rates a perfect.
What's happening, Australia?
And one final word for the sellout too.
Yes, sir.
To be brothers, when you turn your back on us, you disrespect your mothers. Did you hear that?
Did you hear that?
This is a response to the sellout.
That's a response to the sellout. You know who you are. 413 736 2781 is the number here. I don't know how I missed. Australia is in the building. Phoenix, Arizona is up in the building. I missed a few of y'all up in here. But I definitely don't want to miss those who are all the way across the ocean. So welcome, Australia. Welcome, Phoenix. Welcome, New Orleans. Welcome, Texas. Welcome, New York. From New York, concrete jungle where things are made of. There's nothing you can do. Lancaster, Maryland. No, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm sorry. Lancaster, Pennsylvania, up in the building. Good morning. There was a few more. Detroit came back in here. It's after 11 p.m. in Australia. So they up late listening to your boy. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to each and every one. Oh, Portugal came in here. That's right. Portugal came in here as well. I was in Portugal this summer. Good morning to Portugal, man. Y'all up in here from around the globe. Good morning to everybody. Tell a friend, tell somebody. We're on the air right now. Um, let me get the disclaimer in here so you know that the views and opinions are definitely mine.
Opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of WTCC Radio or Springfield Technical Community College.
All right. 413 736 2781. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Let me give you upcoming event because I need to get this in here because it's important. Then I'll get right into our conversation. Let me make sure I get. There we go. The annual Freedom Fund Gala of the Greater Springfield NAACP is going to take place. You know, there we go. Somebody, I give them this information. October 29th. October 29th. At the Sheraton, Springfield. It's 5:30 p.m. is the social hour. 6:30 is dinner and program. There is a cost. I can't quote the cost over the air, but there is a cost. The speaker is my good friend, the Reverend Dr. Jacqueline Thompson, all the way from California. You're going to love her. And of course, you members of Alpha Kappa Alpha, that's y'all soror. She is going to be our keynote speaker. We done had a lot of Deltas come through here. So I thought it was time for a switch, And, maybe next year we'll get a male because we've been female heavy. And not that that's a problem because there's been some dynamic ladies who have come through. But this time she's a member of AKA. So the AKAs, y'all come on out and support Dr. Jacqueline Thompson. So definitely plan to come. You can go to the NAACP Facebook page and find all the details and buy tickets and all of that kind of stuff. The Greater Springfield NAACP. So you definitely want to be a part of that. 413-736-2781 is the number here if you want to chime in on our conversation. So there's a price when it comes to speaking out. And intimidation is designed really to make truth too expensive. They want to make truth expensive. They want to keep us quiet. Want to silence our voices. And so last time I talked about this on Monday, those of you who were with us on Monday, I talked about the fact that my name was on this infamous list of folks that have been targeted for litigation for speaking out about the Nolan Wells case. Number 8, they've been circulating it all over the internet, identifying us as the rabble-rousers and the troublemakers and those who need to be sued, allegedly for defamation, even though we haven't defamed anybody, never called any of those white boys' names, never said anybody was guilty of anything. But we have asked questions. We have asked questions. And so today I don't want to spend time talking about the fact that my name is on the list. I want to talk about why lists like this can be effective even if nobody ever files a lawsuit. Because that's ultimately the first step, is to intimidate. Intimidation does not have to defeat you. They don't have to beat you in a lawsuit to accomplish their purpose. Intimidation basically wants to make speaking out too expensive. Too expensive financially, professionally, emotionally, socially, reputationally. The objective is to make you think about and to calculate the cost of opening your mouth, and to make you decide that silence is cheaper and safer. That is what lawyers call, that's what the journalists recognize and constitutional scholars call a chilling effect. You don't necessarily have to formally prohibit speech. You simply create enough fear around speaking that people will censor themselves. That they'll say, hey, you know what? If I speak out, this and that might happen to me, so it's safer for me to be quiet. And so they don't have to censor you. You censor yourselves. And Black America, we know something about this. We know something about it. And here's what people misunderstand about intimidation. You don't have to intimidate everybody. You only have to make an example out of somebody. I mean, this goes back to the slave plantation, where they would take the strongest black male out in the field in the open in front of everybody. If you haven't seen the documentary film Buck Breaking, produced by Tariq Nasheed, I happen to be in that documentary. But it gives the example of how they took the strongest black male on the plantation out in front of everybody, buck broke him, embarrassed him, took his manhood, raped him in front of everybody, to send the message to everybody else that this can happen to you. So all they need to do is make an example out of somebody. If 100 people are speaking and you threaten 5 of them, the real audience for the threat is the other 95. It's saying, what we're doing to these 5 is going to happen to y'all if you keep opening your mouth. Basically, they want you thinking, if they did that to him, what will they do to me? So they're threatening to sue Ben Crump, Al Sharpton. They pulled together some influential people, put their names on a list, and said, you know, if we sue these people, what y'all think we gonna do to y'all? That's how the chilling effect works. You see somebody and a negative thing happens to them, and it makes you think twice about doing what they did. One worker sees somebody fired for complaining about discrimination, and what do they say? Maybe I shouldn't file my discrimination complaint. A student sees somebody punished for challenging authority, and says, I shouldn't say anything either. A journalist watches another journalist get dragged through expensive litigation, get fired, and then they say maybe it's not worth it. An activist sees another activist investigated, surveyed, financially damaged, and they begin wondering whether advocacy is worth the consequences. And in this case, because so much of what we see and do happens over social media, a content creator sees somebody threatened with litigation for commenting on a controversial case, and they decide, maybe I better delete my post. Notice what happened. Nobody had to obtain a court order, but people silenced themselves. That's why we have to understand the difference between legal accountability and legal intimidation. Defamation laws serve a legitimate purpose. Nobody has a right to knowingly manufacture false allegations about another person. If somebody lies about you, damages your reputation, you have a right to sue them. You have a right to certain remedies. But there's another phenomenon in which the cost of defending your speech can become punishment. You can ultimately prevail and still lose. So sometimes the threat is the weapon. And in this case, when it comes to Nolan Wells, nobody has defamed anyone. No one has said that those 3 white boys murdered Nolan Wells. What they have said is their stories aren't adding up. What they've said is there's strange circumstances surrounding his death. They've asked questions. Why would they go together and leave separately? Why would he stay on the island and not go back with who he came with? Why would they leave with his cell phone and his keys, knowing he was still on the island, and not go back to give him his cell phone so he could communicate, or his keys so he could get in his house? We've asked questions. We've asked questions. We've said what we can substantiate that has been reported. All right? And asking questions is not the same as making an accusation. All right? So let's just strip away social media for a moment. Strip away even race in this case for a moment. Let's just strip away every theory, every personality, and the thing that remains in this case is that a young man is dead. Okay? A young black man is dead. What we know is Nolan Wells went to Horn Island alive. He did not return alive. His family has questions. The public has heard accounts surrounding the circumstances. People have identified what they believe are inconsistencies and unanswered questions. The situation deserves a thorough and transparent investigation. And here's something I want to emphasize, because it gets lost in the social media shouting match. Asking questions is not the same thing as knowing the answers. We can ask, why did this happen, without saying we know who did it. There's a difference. We can ask the question, How does this fit together without accusing anybody of murder? No one has accused, and even if people say they think he was murdered, they still haven't accused anyone of doing it. We can say this doesn't make sense. That's not the same thing as saying, therefore, this person committed a crime. And those distinctions matter. They matter morally, they matter journalistically, they matter legally. And they matter because we're interested in justice and not just simply winning an argument online. All right? We don't need to know what happened to Nolan Wells to believe his family deserves to know what happened to Nolan Wells. That's the distinction. And our position does not require a predetermined villain. It requires a commitment to the truth. And if evidence leads in a certain direction, evidence should be followed in that direction. All right? Even if it leads to a judge's son or to a law enforcement officer's son. If evidence eliminates somebody, eliminate them. If it contradicts a popular theory, abandon the theory. If it raises new questions, ask the new questions. All right? The evidence ought to be followed without a predetermined effort to protect anybody in this particular situation. See, the problem that they have is that black descent is problematic in a white supremacist America. And so black descent has always been treated differently. So let me put race back into the equation. You know, here's the thing. They always say, you know, for black people, why y'all make everything about race? Well, let's just look at the history of the nation that we live in, because, you know, to me, that is the most ridiculous thing that they can ever say. We were enslaved because of race. We were raped, abused, brutalized, dehumanized, experimented on, segregated, mass incarcerated because of race. Discriminated against because of race. Denied certain rights because of race. Denied the right to vote, to live in the neighborhoods we wanted to go to, we wanted to live in. Denied the right to attend the schools we wanted to attend, to eat in the restaurants we wanted to eat in, to drink from water fountains because of race. Everything America has done that has been detrimental to black people has been because of race. So the very people whose existence and whose privilege in this nation is because of race have the caucasity to ask black people why y'all make everything about race. No, we're just speaking the truth that America acts according to race. That's a reality that you want to deny and that you want us to pretend doesn't happen. And so when we talk about it, it makes you feel uncomfortable. And what you do is you project and say, y'all are making everything about race simply because we are responding to you making everything about race. That's the reality of what's going on. So let's put race back in the equation. Absolutely right. They invented the racial system. and then want us to shut up about it. You know, whenever they say, "Oh, you using the race card," I say, you put the card in the deck. Y'all made the deck. If there's a race card in the deck, you put it in there. So when we put race back into the conversation, and we got to do that because pretending race has never affected whose voices in America are considered, requires us to ignore American history. And there's a long history of black people discovering that merely speaking publicly against injustice carries dire consequences. Frederick Douglass was not dangerous because he carried a weapon. He was dangerous because he carried an argument. His power was in his tongue. There's a scripture that says life and death are in the power of the tongue. That says we can speak those things that be not as if they were. There's power in what you say. Ida B. Wells was not threatening to the system because she had an army behind her, but she investigated lynching and she exposed the lies that were used to justify racial terrorism. Her newspaper office was destroyed. Threats were made against her life, and she was driven away from Memphis because there was power in what she spoke, in what she communicated, in what she said, in the systems that she challenged. Think about it. Her weapon was documentation. Her weapon was journalism. Her weapon was the truth. And that's why they considered her dangerous. Because there's a cost to speaking up in this nation. Consider W.E.B. Du Bois. Consider Paul Robeson, or Marcus Garvey, or Malcolm X, or Fannie Lou Hamer, or Martin Luther King. Consider organizations throughout the Black freedom struggle. The Black Panthers, Black Liberation Army. They were watched. They were infiltrated. They were surveyed. They were investigated. They were threatened. Their finances were scrutinized. Their associations were examined. Their private lives were searched for weaknesses that they could exploit publicly. They did it over and over again. One of the most shameful examples is what the FBI did to Martin Luther King Jr. Today, America quotes Dr. King in January. They name streets after him. They give children coloring books about him. They give government employees a holiday honoring him. But the America in which King actually lived didn't treat him like that. The FBI wiretapped him. They attempted to discredit him, sent him anonymous letters intended to psychologically terrorize him. And see, brothers and sisters, you got to understand that sanitized prophets are always more comfortable than living prophets. They're okay with the sanitized version of Dr. King that gets presented to us on an annual basis. But the real living prophet, they hated him. And that's why they murdered him. They love him now. And the reason they love him now is because dead prophets can't interrupt their policies. It's amazing to me, and that doesn't just go for the conservative, right-wing, MAGA-type folk. That goes to your left-wing, progressive, Democrat, so-called allies as well. They are comfortable with the dead prophets. They're comfortable with a dead Dr. King, with a dead Malcolm X. But they tell those of us who walk in their footsteps who try to carry their mantle, you're going too far. I get definite opposition from the MAGA types all the time, death threats, all of that. But I also get opposition from the so-called progressives, the so-called allies. It's been the allies that have said Bishop Swan is speaking in the wrong way about Israel and Gaza and what's happening there. They've tried to get me kicked off of the Massachusetts Hate Crimes Task Force. They've tried to get me silenced in certain spaces. They've tried to get my national church and my fraternity and the national NAACP to reprimand me. These are the left-wing progressives. Ain't talking about the MAGA folks. And I scratch my head and say, so y'all who claim you love Dr. King and all of that kind of stuff, now that he's dead, y'all wouldn't have loved him if he was alive. Because we're walking in his footsteps, and you hate the things that we do and say. You're uncomfortable with the things that we do and say. Dead prophets can't organize. Dead prophets can't call a press conference. Dead prophets can't challenge presidents and mayors and governors and other elected officials. Dead prophets can't tell America that racism and poverty and militarism are all interconnected. So America, both on the left and on the right, they love yesterday's prophets while frequently hating today's dissenters. It's a whole playbook. And note, if you will, that there are certain things that the left and the right unite around. They all united around sending money so Israel could continue to kill babies in Palestine. That's another subject. That's a whole nother topic matter. But see, I know the playbook. And that's why I don't panic when somebody tells me that somebody powerful, somebody well-funded, somebody connected is threatening to sue me. You know, I first found out that the vice president had threatened to sue me. I was live on the air with Piers Morgan. I was doing the Piers Morgan show. And Piers had just seen it come up on Twitter that the vice president had tweeted that he had threatened to sue me, and he asked me, he said, "Did you know the vice president is threatening to sue you?" I'm like, "No, I didn't know that." So he then asked me, would I take back what I said? I said, hell to the no. To the no, to the no. I said, when the vice president retracts the lies he told about Haitian immigrants in Ohio, after he accused them of eating dogs and cats, stealing people's pets and eating the dogs and the cats, when he retracts and apologizes to the Haitian community, then I'll consider taking down what I said about him. So I don't trip when they tell me somebody powerful is going to sue me, because I've been there before. I've been there where people told me, retract your statement or you're going to face legal action. I received in the mail letters from attorneys, big names and small names, with potential legal claims. I received cease and desist letters. I received notices. If you don't take this post down, if you don't retract this statement, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen to you. Brett Favre's attorney told me they were going to file a claim because I talked about the Mississippi welfare scandal that has been widely reported by every major news outlet in the nation. So when my name winds up number 8 on another list, you know, it's just part of the game. It's par for the course. See, at some point, you develop perspective. And I'm not saying that lawsuits don't matter. They do. I'm not saying lawyers don't matter. I'm not saying that we should ignore legal correspondence. What I'm saying is that the existence of a threat does not establish the falsity of the speech that is being threatened. And that's important because some people hear about a lawyer and they automatically assume that the person receiving the threat must have done something wrong. That's not what that means at all. A lawyer does not represent the truth. Let me say that so you clearly understand that. A lawyer doesn't represent the truth. A lawyer represents their client's interest. They represent whoever is paying them. Okay? Good morning, caller.
Reverend Captain Cummings, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, doing awesome. Thanks so much for addressing this issue of speaking out, because silence is complicity to the violence that's already happening in this white supremacist economic structure. And I'm so grateful that you continue to be that clarion call for our community and the world.
Yes, appreciate you.
Oh, absolutely. Keep firing them up. And I'm appalled at all of these lynchings. Nola Wells' case has had me arrested since it's come out. And I pray that as they uncover more in this case, that more cases in Mississippi will be overturned due to their willful negligence and harm towards Black people.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, bro.
All right, appreciate you. 413-736-2781. Coming up at 10 o'clock is Mid-Morning Jazz, great black music. Don Felton's in the studio. He's going to make it smooth, make it personal, so keep it locked right here on 90.7 FM. It's evidence that establishes facts. And the mere statement or the mere threat that somebody is going to sue you does not magically transform a legitimate question into defamation. And, you know, I've learned something over the 3.5 to 4 decades of activism that I've done throughout my career, is that when somebody threatens me, my first reaction is not fear. My first reaction is to check the receipts. What exactly did I say? What sources did I rely on to come to the conclusion of what I said? Did I present an allegation as a fact, or did I ask a question? Did I accurately quote what somebody said? Did I distinguish my opinion from a factual claim? Did I make an accusation that I can't substantiate? So if I got it wrong, I'll fix it, because there's no shame in correction. But if I got it right, I don't worry about their threats. Because after you check your work if what you actually did was legitimate commentary, legitimate criticism, legitimate advocacy, legitimately asking questions, don't apologize simply because somebody didn't like hearing it, simply because it made somebody feel uncomfortable, simply because they're worried that it may shine a light onto their client. They want you to censor yourself, and the most dangerous censor is the one inside your head. You got external censorship, but then there's internal censorship. And sometimes nobody has to tell you to shut up because you've learned to do it yourself. You start deleting stuff. You start retracting stuff. You think about asking a question, then you swallow it because you don't want to ask it. Something is wrong, but you don't want to get in trouble because the last person who questioned what was wrong got fired. You see injustice, but then you calculate what speaking out about it might actually cost you. And that's when intimidation has reached its highest level of effectiveness. Because the oppressor no longer needs to monitor you because you're now monitoring yourself. You have become your own censor. Some of the most effective tools used are those that make us be quiet, those that make us docile, those that make us passive. And that's why we've got to build resilience. We've got to take the resilience that we've inherited, that was developed by our ancestors, because if every threat had worked, there would have never been an underground railroad. If every arrest had worked, it would have stopped the Montgomery bus boycott. If every time somebody got beat, there would have never been a Selma. If every bombing had worked, there would have been no movement. If every assassination had worked, the movement would have died with the martyrs. But somebody always got back up. Somebody always stepped forward. Somebody always said, if you silence that voice, I'm going to be another voice. And that's how movements survive. We've got to keep on speaking out. We cannot allow these threats to intimidate us into silence. We cannot allow our name being on a list to make us scared to continue the work of justice, because that's what they want to do. They want to make the cost of speaking truth to power so expensive that they shut us down. I got to get out your way. Don Felton is up next with mid-morning jazz and great black music. Keep it locked right here. If you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Bishop Talbert Swan Way, the brick church right there at Six Corners. 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, 11 a.m. is our morning worship celebration, 10 a.m. is our Sunday school, 9 a.m. in Brattleboro, Vermont, 29 South Street. Prayer, praise, and preaching. We're building better tomorrows by changing lives today. I'll be back with you on Monday morning on the spoken word. And until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember, God loves you, and so do I. Peace and blessings. There comes a moment in every generation when the world grows too dark for passive faith
and too wicked for a silent church.
I'm good. How you?
When God looks for a people with enough holy imagination to dream beyond